If you can see it, oh, it's just beautiful. Look at that, sealed up nicely and nice and thin. This is not thick. We did it. And you can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it, believe me. So what's more fun and easy to make on a Sunday together with someone you love than pasta? And you always have the ingredients. Most people always have eggs and flour and oil and salt in their pantry. Let's make some pasta today. Just relax. Finally, after years and years of having a KitchenAid attachment that does the pasta that my sister Peggy gave me for Christmas when we lived in Maine, I hadn't used it till we moved here. And I'm embarrassed to say that. It just sat. And once I broke it out, I realized it's just like so easy. I should have been doing this for years. So hopefully that'll be your sign to break out that pasta maker, that roller that you have, that attachment that someone gave you for your KitchenAid, or maybe you have one that attaches to the counter and has the crank, or maybe you just have the good old-fashioned rolling pin, which works just fine too. But since I have the attachment and it's so easy and fun to use, I'm going to use that. One of the recipes I'm going to show you today for making pasta is out of this Italian pasta making book that Maggie brought us home from her high school trip many years ago. But she knew I loved to cook, and she brought back all these really thoughtful gifts. It's really nice. And one of them was this pasta making book. And so before I'm going to cook something, if it's not something I cook all the time, which pasta maybe I make once a month, and I've used several different recipes so that I start to learn what recipe I'm comfortable with, because they're all similar recipes when you look at different cooks and chefs and cookbooks, but they all can be slightly different. One less egg, some use egg yolk, some use whole eggs, some use olive oil, some don't. So I kind of look across at least 3 to 5 and always include the New York Times as a baseline because I love their recipes and I trust them. The reason I'm choosing this one for one is that it uses the 00 flour, which I like to use, and it uses 4 whole eggs, no egg yolks. I don't think that that's going to make a huge difference in this case. I'm not making an overly eggy pasta. It doesn't have to be golden yellow. Speaking of eggs, I always make the boiled eggs for Pat, and I like them too. So I just made 8 boiled eggs this morning using my egg peeling trick that I taught you in my Easter special, where you shake the eggs after they've been boiled and cooled in a little Tupperware container to break the shell, and they peel beautifully. Look at these gorgeous, nice, soft boiled eggs. So I'm gonna have this for breakfast before we start on pasta making. And you know what I like to do? I love pepper. You know, I'm a pepper monkey, so I've got my fresh cracked pepper, but I use this Malden, the sea salt flakes on my eggs. Oh my God, these are so good. Just a little sprinkle. You don't want too much salt in your diet, but that, it just gives the eggs, it's like so delicious. I'm gonna enjoy my eggs. I'm gonna get ready to make pasta. I'm gonna get my attachment out, and I'm gonna meet you back here. So the recipe that I'm using today with the 00 flour calls for 400 grams. And I have a food scale, but I know many people do not. So I'm going to weigh it out for us, but then I'll tell you how much it is in cups as well. Those of you without a scale, it would come to 2 3/4 cups of 00 flour. Put it right into the Cuisinart. Put our 4 eggs right in. I'm not even going to bother to, mix them ahead of time. It's 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt. Pulse that around. I love using the Cuisinart, so easy. So just keep pulsing it, mixing it until it can be squished in your hand till it feels like Play-Doh. Check it a few times. I have a really beautifully clean countertop. Pat cleaned the whole entire apartment yesterday. I mean, top to bottom, everything. He's meticulous, but he also cleaned my stove. Let me show you what the stove looks like. He did it. Beautiful job. And then we realized we have a self-cleaning oven. But the self-cleaning would have never gotten all the nooks and crannies and the glass as clean as he got it. He did it with like a razor blade. He had to go, you know, I do a lot of cooking. There's a lot of built up grime in there. It's like a work of art. I've never seen my stove so clean. Look at this. Be prepared to be amazed. Oh, yeah. Oh, Paddy. It's amazing. Thank you, Paddy. We're gonna make the pasta right here, roll it out, and knead it out. Lightly flour your work surface and take all the dough from the Cuisinart out onto the flour, and we're gonna start to knead it. We're gonna knead the dough for 8 minutes, and if you go longer, that's fine too. But it's not gonna be like a bread dough. It's going to be stiffer, and you're not going to pull the dough all the way over itself. You're gonna pull an edge up and sort of halfway in and do a turn. Edge up, halfway in, do a turn. So just watch me. That's exactly how it's supposed to look. It's going to be smooth on the top side, and the bottom side where you've been pulling it in is going to have those creases and wrinkles. That's perfect. You can see and feel how the dough has changed after about 8 minutes of kneading, and you don't want to tear the dough, so when you see that nice supple top, that's a good point to stop. Now wrap your dough in plastic wrap, and you're going to let it sit at room temperature for at least 30 minutes, and you can go up to an hour or a little bit longer. But with the eggs in the recipe, you don't want to go much beyond an hour. This is going to allow the glutens to relax, the dough is going to become softer, the flour is going to absorb all of that oil and the egg liquid, so it's just so different. It's amazing, but no monkey. So inside the cheese filling, we're also going to have some spinach, and as you know, it takes a lot of spinach to get a little spinach when you're cooking it. It cooks down and goes down to like nothing. So I'm actually going to probably put this whole bag in, 9-ounce bag. It wasn't all the way full. It's probably 8 ounces left, 7 ounces. It's going to cook down to near nothing. I'm not going to cook this very long at all. I just want to get it so it's not raw. Don't want to obliterate it. Water, salt, and the spinach, and you could use frozen spinach, just thawed out. You know, it's like when in my lasagna, the layer that you do with the ricotta cheese, I always like to put spinach in that ricotta cheese layer as well. I'm going to drain it, and then I'm going to squeeze the liquid out of it. Push out that extra liquid because we don't want our ravioli filling full of liquid. So we'll use the ricotta first. That in. 1 egg. You could beat it up lightly ahead of time. You know how I cook. I don't really do that kind of stuff. We're gonna grate. I'm gonna use the fine grater. We're gonna grate in, like, do whatever you want, but I'm gonna put about close to a 1/4 cup of parmesan, 1/4 cup of mozzarella. You could add fontina to this if you like that. I like fontina, but I don't have any right now. This is why people buy the pre-grated cheese. Okay, put all that in. Now, just got a 1/4 cup of fresh mozzarella. Nice and cheesy. And then I'm gonna take, just because I want our ravioli to kind of have a fine, finish in there. These leaves are really big on the spinach. I'm just gonna chop it up. I do things rustically into that. I'm putting it all in because a nice, good amount of salt, probably 1/2 teaspoon at least, teaspoon slide cheese, and lots of fresh cracked pepper. And I think I'm gonna put a little parsley in there because I have some fresh parsley to put in. That gives it a nice freshness. Sometimes cheese can be flat. Do you know what I mean by that? Now sort of the moment we've all been waiting for, the fun part. It feels so good. The dough is really soft and relaxed now, so I know it's ready. I have moved my KitchenAid over here so you can see better. I got my attachments, which this attachment set is a 3-piece pasta roller and cutter set. So the pasta roller does those big long sheets, like for lasagna, or in my case, the ravioli I'm going to use. And then the cutter set, there's a flat cutter for linguini tagliatelle. No, I shouldn't say tagliatelle. It's only set to one setting for linguini. And then the round cutting setting for spaghetti. So this is a really nice set. For KitchenAid, just unscrew this little black thingy, technical terms, and take off the KitchenAid logo thing out of the front, because that's where you're going to load. That's where you're going to load this in, and you're going to take out the attachment, the flat one, because we're going to do sheets first. Because you have to roll them out flat first, and then even if you're leaving it flat, or if you're doing linguine or spaghetti, it has to be flat to go through the cutter piece anyway. So as Paddy will tell you, I'm extremely not inclined mechanically. There we go. Okay. Okay. And I don't even know if it has to lock on. I think that's it. But you know what? I wonder. I think is this? I'm going to screw this thing back in. Yeah, I think. Yeah. So this little knob. I tell you, not only I'm not mechanically inclined, but I did figure this out. I'm also a little bit forgetful. So I forget how I do it every time. But anyway, I'm going to screw this back in, and that's going to keep this nice and steady. Okay, perfect. And this aside. Now, you take the bowl off. This is going to be spinning, and we're going to be going on the low speed, always on speed 1, just to show you. Feed the pasta through here. So what we have to do first is just flour. We get some nice flour on our surface. I'm filming solo today, so I have to make sure the shots are lined up before I do a whole segment and my head is cut off, or you're not even looking at the dough. I mean, I don't, this whole YouTube thing, it's a lot, but it's really fun. So anyway, take your bench scraper. I'm gonna put a little flour on there so it doesn't stick. And I'm gonna cut this into 4ths. Look how nicely it cuts through. And I'm gonna keep these covered, the ones I'm not using, so they don't get too dried out. I'll keep those covered. And the one we're working with, we want to just first make it into, like, soften it up a little, get a little flour on there, like a rectangle. You can use your rolling pin for this too, just to get it in the shape, to get it going through, because the opening, and we're going to put it on the widest opening. All right, this is important. There's numbers on here. And we're going to go to the lowest number, which is 1. That is the widest opening, which, I don't know, maybe it looks like an eighth of an inch, 1/4 of an inch tops. That's where you always start. And then as you feed it through a number of times, we're going to get higher and higher in the numbers. I go 1, 3, 5, and then sometimes I finish on 6 or 7, depending on what kind of pasta I'm making. But first, it can't be so wide that it won't be able to get started through there. All right, this is magic. Drum roll. This is the magic. I love this part. It's like really fun. Okay, so that's on, which means this is pulling through. So take your dough. I've got a good amount of flour on there, so it's not going to stick. The first pass. And And then I'm gonna fold it in thirds, like that. Put a little more flour on there. And we're gonna go pass through again. This time, I'm gonna put it up to 2, because I'm a little impatient. And I felt like it could do it. And we're going to fold it back into thirds again. Flour it up. I don't have enough flour on there. You see how it's pulling? I do not have enough flour on there. It's problematic. but it's not the end of the world. And I'm actually glad it happened, because this has happened before, and we'll fix it. You'll see. I just have to get the dough out of the machine, so you have to keep it running and let it go out. Problems are the best way to learn. You know that? And we'll just feed it through. Get out of there. Now, with this mess, we're gonna start all over again. Get some nice flour on it, and we're just gonna roll it into a rectangle. Nothing perfect, just so that we can get it through the attachment roller. It can't be so thick to start off with. It's lots of flour. Keep on, every time it comes through the roller, more and more flour, so that it doesn't stick. Use your judgment. That looks really good. Now, I'll flour it up. Both sides. There, that's nice. Now we're moving. You can feel it. That feels great. More flour. This is where it really starts getting fun. You can just feel the dough strengthening. And that next one, I'm going to go up. I'm going to move it up to 3. You just pull it out, move it over. That's number 3. One more pass at 3. And then we're going to bump it up to 5. See how I should use the back of my hand so I don't pull a hole in it. Just gently down. Go to 5. See how nice. It's just beautiful. It feels so nice. And because we're making ravioli and we have, pasta on either side, when you go to seal it up, those seals are pretty thick. So I'm going to go to 6. If you can, try to go to 6 so that the pasta is a little bit thinner. Put a little flour on both sides. A little bit thinner so you don't get those really heavy edges. This is great. This is so satisfying and fun and inexpensive and interesting, and you're making your own food. Now I'm gonna turn this off so you can hear me. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to, because I gotta make a lot. We're gonna be making all different. I'm gonna flour this up, and I'm going to cut it in half. Right about there. You can use a knife, bench scraper, whatever you have. And I have prepared my cookie sheets, baking sheets, and I have some semolina flour here. It's different than corn flour, finer. And so you want to line your baking sheet with that so that your pasta doesn't stick. That. And this is actually, it's kind of nice to let your pasta just rest out here and kind of dry out a bit before we work with it. So that's first go around. We have 3 more pieces of dough to do. It's pretty easy, right? Pretty fun. Let's just take another piece, And I think I'm going to show you how to do the linguine setting. So again, first we still have to start with, set it back to 1. We have to start with the roller setting to get the flat piece, nice thin flat piece of pasta. Salty has been very whiny today, so I have to keep starting and stopping. She wants to go out, she wants to come in, she wants to take a nap, she wakes up. It's like a baby. She is almost 13 years old, our dear Salty. So, you know, you have to be patient. Do you hear? Right now she wants to go out. I'll show you. Oh, pajama. Okay. So I'm sorry I had to let her out, and it's a little loud out there. I hear some sirens. There's Miami. Look. We'll make do. Okay, so we are set back to 1. Go to 1. I'm gonna go a little thinner to get it going. Good amount of flour. There we go. I love this part. Pass through at 1. The first one is the hardest, as you see. Now it's just gliding right through. I'm going to put it to 3. Which setting you'll end on depends on how thick you like your pasta. If you like a little thicker pasta, don't go quite so high up in the numbers. I'm gonna take this, because we're gonna make this piece into linguine. I'm going to take it up to 5. That's about where I like to stop. So we're going to go to 5. And I'm going to do a few passes through on 5. I like it a little bit thick and chewy, to be honest. It's just lovely. Alright, so that was 5. And you know, I'm going to do it one more time. At 5. Get nice and long. Lots of linguine to make out of this. And then after this pass, I'm going to attach the linguine cutter. And I don't want it just, I'm going to cut this in half. Right about there. So we have like 12-inch, about 12 to 14-inch pieces of linguine. This is the linguine. You can see there's a squarish shape to it. Unscrew this. This one on. And there's a little black dot here that lines up with the groove on the machine. And then you just screw it back in. Very simple. There's no, thickness settings here. It's all just 1. So we put it on 1. And I'm going to put a little more flour to make sure we don't stick. And I'll put the thin end in first because it'll grab it easier. And watch this. It's so great. You know what? I'm going to go even closer up. Hold on. My head's cut off, but so what? Watch this. Watch the magic. Cutting into beautiful linguine. Ah! Isn't that awesome? There. Look at that. So much fun. So I just roll it around in the flour a bit and then put it onto put some more semolina flour. Get this in the flour. Even a little more flour. So it kind of dries up and doesn't stick together. See how nice? And then I'm just going to store it right here to dry out a bit. Now you could either cook this right now fresh. How perfect. It just feels so good. Look at how fun. Or you could just let this, I'm going to make other clusters, and then you can freeze this like we did the, what did we just recently freeze? Oh, the gnocchi. We did a flash freezing. So we're going to freeze clumps separately like this, kind of nice and separated. And then when they're frozen, take out the clumps and put them into a bag to store in your freezer for like, a month or two. Let's make some more linguine. I'm gonna shut the door because Salty's back in now. She's in, she's out, she's in, she's out. We adore Salty. To be honest, tell me what kind of dog you have in the comments. I love dogs. We've always had a dog in our life. So here we go, another round of linguine. Go. Linguine blue. Double O. Just sort of get the flour all on it. It just, it seems to make it, if you dry it out a bit before you cook it, I think it's more stable and consistency of the pasta, so it might not just fall apart. It's fresh, but it's good to give it a little drying time. Some people have those hanging racks, which are really cute. I don't have one. Okay, so we're gonna make more, roll out more ravioli long slices, because it's so nice to have extra. We're gonna eat fresh ravioli tonight. For Pat and I, I'm gonna make the cheese ravioli, and I'll make a tomato sauce, or I'll put it with probably my favorite Rayo sauce tonight, because this has been an all-day project. Even though for you it'll be quick, but with all this taping, it makes it a little slower. Such a treat to have on a weeknight when you don't feel like cooking. You have homemade pasta in the freezer. You've already done the work. It's just, it's the best. Okay, set it to 1. Salty wants what Salty wants, when she wants it. All right, now that we have our ravioli sheets rolled out, and I made some linguine just to show you, but I want to show you how to fill the ravioli. I have this cute little thing, anyway, I'll show you how to, I don't know what it's called, ravioli maker. Uh-oh, I have some egg juice. So, first piece that you use, I like to flour all pieces of it so that the pasta doesn't stick to it. You put your base down. Maybe it's better for you to see it that way, I don't know. And let's take a sheet of our rolled pasta. And if it doesn't fit exactly, just pull it ever so gently to the edges. Oh, there's Salty. Right now it's time for lunch. So we'll hope we have some peace here. Okay, so just stretch it ever so gently onto your ravioli mold, call it, and then you take this other piece with the wells, and you just push it down gently, because that's going to make the impression for where we're going to put our, isn't that so cute, where we're going to put our filling. And you don't have to press hard, it's just to make a little divot. How fancy. And then remember we made our cheese filling, and you don't really need much. I'm going to say, don't want to overfill them. Kind of a good teaspoon, like that. Hope you can see it. Yeah, about it. I'm going to say a good teaspoon. A little less. I'm just going to keep filling these. But you see, Well, if you didn't have this ready, and you could still let your pasta just dry out, give it some time to dry out while you made the filling, but because the dough had to rest anyway, you might as well use that 30 minutes to an hour to make a couple different fillings, or just one filling, whatever you're feeling in the mood for, Yeah, I am so hungry. I didn't eat lunch yet. I want to eat this already. But I'll wait for Pat. I'll wait. We'll have a nice dinner. It's so good. Fresh ravioli dinner. I'll tell you something. My husband eats pretty well. He does. And you know what the good thing? Even Pat, he doesn't like to cook really at all. He is a great cleaner, as you see. So I cook, he cleans. Again, division of labor. And he never ever complains about what I'm cooking. He just eats it. I think my cooking's good, but in all the, whatever it's been now, over 30 years of cooking for him, he never complains. He just eats it all. It's really nice. Okay, that looks good. Now we're gonna put the cover on. So we take another piece of the ravioli sheet. See, it's handy to have everything ready and in close proximity. Semolina flour on the outside, which is actually great. I'm gonna just try to line it up as best I can and just pull the edges out so they're evened up. It doesn't have to be perfect, nothing I do. Just, you want them to match up so they seal up. So go like that, and then you're gonna take you could do it with your hands, because I actually like to start it with my hands, but then I'm gonna use my rolling pin to really press it in. I hope you can see this. And press it down. I start gently, so that you lose any of that filling, doesn't come flying out. And then once you feel confident, go another pass. You can already start to see the form. It's gonna allow us to take them out really easily. Give it a nice roll on the edges. So you see what it's doing? It's cutting the ravioli out of the form for us. So sometimes I have to use a little cutter or a knife afterwards too, and you can just sort of pull it away. I don't really like to pull things. Let's go like that. And it's sealing up the edges nicely too by doing this. Looks good. Really good. You see how now the metal is showing? Now we're getting close. Now, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna flip this over. This is the first time I've done it this way. Pretty exciting. Oops. I'm gonna flip the whole form over. Let's see what happens. Da-da-da. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Okay, nice. You know what, I'm gonna stop right here. This is a picture. I'm gonna take a picture. At this point, they're almost separated all the way. And I have a lot to make up. So we're going to put them on the tray to start drying out. And I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna make some freeform. But let's cut these. This is my little tool. Let's cut them right along the seams that didn't get separated from the machine. Go right down. Fun. Oh yeah, these are cute. They look really good. And you know what? I'm so happy that we went to that level, the 6 opening, because the edges are not thick and clumpy. Had we not made the sheets thin the way we did, we'd have a little bit too thick of ravioli, in my opinion. But you see, if you can see it, oh, just beautiful. Look at that, sealed up nicely and nice and thin. This is not thick. We did it. And you can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it. Believe me. Just enjoy. We're gonna put them right on our semolina floured sheet while we do all the rest of them, and they'll continue to get more dry. But look at how much we've done in such a short time. Okay. Let's just keep. If you don't have this form, put that aside, I made one long rolled out sheet of pasta, which I'm now gonna attempt to do freeform. I'm just gonna do some freeform. Here's where I creased it. So I'm gonna put, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5 down. We'll do 4 or 5. And I think I might make these smaller so that I can have an easier time cutting around them, because I don't have the form to help me. I'll space them out, because you don't need all this equipment, you really don't. Now, we'll take this piece and just fold it up and over. That. Just bring it to the edge. Look at that. See? And what I will tell you, since I've been dealing with Salty today, and I'm working with the dough a little, I let it dry out maybe a little too much, because you saw it tear on a couple of them. So it's better to work when it's a little more pliable. I think it's easier, but this is fine. You just have to be, and then look at, I saw Pasta Grannies. Do you follow them on Instagram? I love Pasta Grannies. The older Italian women, and they just, they figure things out. So they just use their hand to kind of seal it up. And that's what we're gonna do. So we get it sealed up first along the edges. And I could have probably put some water along the edge to even seal it more. That would have been smart. But now, and if you don't have this tool, you could just use a knife or whatever, but I love this little tool. It also helps smush the, I'm having a low biorhythm today. That's why I'm a little slower. But we'll get there. We'll get there, we're getting there. Turtle today. I think they look great, and I want the edges to all look pretty, so I'm going to go around the whole. I could have, since I made them bigger, I could have made more, I could have put more filling in there, but you know what, I'm not even going to waste these little pieces. It's pasta. I'll cook them freeform. So now we're going to put these on our sheets. You know, nice, right? This is not, not big difference. It's still ravioli, still yummy ravioli. Just be careful cutting the edges. You don't cut into the filling, which I kind of did there, but I think I'll just push it down and I'll be fine. Okay, save these little scraps. Makes fun, just irregular pastas. Save them on my board. Freeze for about an hour, then you can transfer them into a freezer bag. I had all these fun scraps of pasta left. I just cut them or tore them into shapes, and I am starving. All I had was a little egg for breakfast this morning. So salted the water well, and I'm gonna eat these for my lunch. Them a little nudge around, but it's not going to take 7 minutes like it would for regular dry pasta, because we just made this, it's fresh. It's as soon as they're all floating, not even 2 minutes, it's already nice and soft. Al dente. I'll put it right into my sauce, which I just put a little touch of olive oil in the pan, and then the Rao's marinara I'm using today. It's raining out, and it's been raining a lot here lately. This is a nice day to have leftover pasta. I've been working so hard on my more composed ravioli pasta. Add a ladle or two of the pasta water, the nice starchy pasta water, into the sauce to loosen it up. Doesn't that look good? It's just like comfort food. Oh, like I said, I have a little bit of a low biorhythm today, and Salty's been a little bit of a pain. She can't help it, but you know, I'm trying to do my YouTube, I'm trying to work here. And this is just what the doctor ordered. Nice, homemade, delicious pasta on this rainy day while the beast is sleeping. I call this pasta alla salty. Please stick around a few more minutes so you can see if Paddy likes my homemade ravioli. And if you watch to the very end, you'll see how the day really went. It's got all the kooky pieces. It's a little wild and woolly, but I'm telling you, I know it's going to be delicious. It's so soft and supple, and it cooked so fast. Wasn't that fun making pasta? It's a little bit too big of a bite, but I'm starving. Oh. It's really good. And I'm not just saying that because I just made it, but it's soft. It's well salted because we salted in the flour, and we salted the pasta water. But it just melts in your mouth. There's nothing, and it's silky, the 00 flour, if you can get it. Of course, like I said, you can use all-purpose, and I have used all-purpose, and it was delicious, but I noticed it was more chewy. And this is very delicate and silky and soft. So there's a difference between all-purpose and the 00. There is a little difference, but the taste is phenomenal. It's just nice to have sort of a basic recipe, a feel for the dough, you know, get comfortable with it so that you're not afraid on a Sunday to just take an hour and make pasta. It's lovely. And not only will we have it tonight for dinner, we'll have that ravioli. When Pat gets home, I just put the ravioli we made, I put half of it in the fridge, covered in plastic, and the other half I froze, so we'll have that soon. But it's so nice also to know you can come home on a busy work night and make homemade pasta. It's waiting for you in the fridge. So that's the beauty of doing it like on a Sunday. So this will be the first of many pasta episodes. It was a long day with my beloved Salty. She just, these days, she's almost 90, and I feel for her. But if she's awake, a lot of times she's barking or whining. She's very talkative. So it kind of makes it a little hard to do the filming. But we got through it. I'm gonna put in the show notes, you know, all the different products I mentioned. And also, you know, you saw me in an episode when I first started YouTube a month ago. I have this big rolling pin, which I love. And you saw it was kind of unwieldy, you know, when I was making my little tarts. And when I took a break, I had to go down and get the mail earlier. In my mail was this cute little rolling pin. I don't know if any of you remember from that episode with the tarts. I put a little, you know, plea out to my family and friends that I needed a new rolling pin. And I meant like for Christmas or a birthday. I didn't just mean like a random gift. But look what my sister Peggy sent me, this cute little pin, rolling pin, and it's just perfect. And I love the size, and it's going to be perfect for rolling out my doughs, my tarts, my dumplings. You're the sweetest, Peg. Thank you. We love to cook together. Okay, Paddy just got home, and you know we've been working all day on our ravioli, so he's in for a treat. I got the water boiling. I put a nice amount of salt in the water. And remember what I told you, after we made the ravioli, we put them on the baking sheet. I covered them with plastic, just kept them in the fridge. I probably won't put those in because they got those little tears. But look how gorgeous. So they were in the fridge for like a couple hours. And right into the salted water, they're gonna go really fast. I have about 6. There's all day salty. Okay, so I'm dropping all of these in except the 2 that have the tears. I don't want them to mess up the water. So, and look how fast, if you can get in, they're already floating. These are not even gonna take, they're gonna take less than a minute. This one's empty because it had a tear. I'm gonna put it in anyway, it's just pasta. And this one I tried to repair. Let's see if it, hope it doesn't blow apart. Maneuver them around so they don't stick together, but they're not sticking, I can see. Look at how fast, they're already starting to float. That's the beauty of fresh pasta, it goes so fast. And while that's happening, Leo's is the best. I mean, it's so good. So why not? So we've got our marinara heating up. As soon as these are done, in another 30 seconds or so, I'm gonna throw them right in the sauce. The pasta's ready, it's floating. Didn't even take 2 minutes. I'm gonna take some of that nice pasta water. I'm gonna put it right into our sauce. Maybe a little bit more. Give it that little starch. Around, and then we're ready. I'm just going to drop the pasta right into the sauce gently. Go. Look how gorgeous. They look beautiful. So remember, the filling is the ricotta cheese, mozzarella, parmesan, spinach, and they all held together just nicely. Oh. When I repaired, it held. I had a little tear there. I just put a piece of pasta on it, and in the fridge it must have bound together. Does that look good? My plate, I love a nice, good pile of shaving of Parmesan. But I also, as we know, am a pepper monkey. I got my fresh cracked black pepper, which I love. But I also, you know, I love my flat iron pepper company, Sweet Heat. I like a little of that. It's time to eat. Well, here's a nice treat for Monday night. Fresh pasta. I know the pasta's good because I had some for lunch, but I haven't had the ravioli yet.
Nice and cheesy.
I love it. You know what?
Nice filling.
I love the filling. I put more cheese than the last time, not just ricotta and parmesan. I added the mozzarella and the spinach. But remember what we talked about in the video, I went to number 6 on the rolling out so that the sheets of pasta were thinner, and it really made a difference because the ravioli can get just too heavy. So these edges are not too heavy at all. Cheers. I love it. Okay. See you next week. Happy pasta making. We'll do the spinach pasta because I do love spinach pasta, and then I put a pumpkin filling in the ravioli. Well, see, we did it. Pasta. Okay. Oh my God, that was so fun making pasta. We'll call today's episode like Pasta 101. I just kind of took you through the basics, showed you that you can make it in the Cuisinart. It's like so easy. I got worn out today. I had a little bit of a low biorhythm, and Salty was just all day like that. If Salty's awake these days, she's barking, and I know I'm trying to have patience because she's almost 90, and she's obviously not all that with it. Oh, Salty.